everyone. I'm Judy. We're here at the White Pigeon Township Library, and today we have Jessie Oman with us from Jessie's Flower Farm.
Hello.
Some of you may remember Jessie. We visited her back in, midsummer, I think it was. But today she came to us to do something a little bit different. What are we going to be doing, Jessie?
We're going to make a dried wreath.
Wonderful. And so all of this comes from your garden.
Yep.
All right.
We dried it all this summer, and we have lots of different options and ideas for you all to try to make at home.
Wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for being here, and we'll get started.
All right. So today we have a grapevine wreath. You can get these at any craft store. You can order them. They'll ship to your house. They're pretty cheap. Or you can make your own if you have a grapevine in your yard. Just at the beginning of the season, we normally trim ours back, so you can make your own. And then this past summer, we actually dried a bunch of stuff. You have to have it in the dark, though, to keep its color. If you dry it in the sun, you're going to lose all of its color, and it doesn't look very pretty. So we have a couple things we're going to put in the back as filler. This is amaranthus. We have dahlias. These are just hung upside down and dried. We have some celosia. These are sunflowers that we dried. Over here we have yarrow. It comes in a bunch of different colors, so that's super easy to dry. We have dried oranges. We just put them in a dehumidifier and dry them. Magnolia leaves. These are great. They dry. You can get them shipped to your house. You can get them at the craft store, and they dry great. Larkspur does really good. It's a little bit fragile, so you just have to be really careful when you're placing it in. And we also have to pin our flowers. This is 20 gauge wire, florist wire. I cut them in half. You can get them any craft store. They're pretty cheap too. So this arrangement actually is really, really cheap and easy to make. As long as you have your dried flowers, you're good to go. All right, let's get started. So first, I'm going to take some amaranthus. I'm going to loosely place them on my wreath. Take wire, bend it in half, slide it through, and then on the other side, you're going to twist it. And that's going to hold your flowers in place. And then you take your next. I'll do a little bit more of this. We'll go this side. And you can always trim the excess, so don't worry if stuff's hanging over the edge. You just want to build your foundation. Sometimes you gotta move your wire around and mess with it so you can find an opening in your wreath. So that's pretty sturdy. You can shake it around and it doesn't move. So next we're going to add some yarrow. This I'm going to break and just slide it in wherever there's a good spot. I'm going to do a couple in there and put them all on the same wire. I'm going to just pin them in. Wiggle your wire, get it through, twist it on. And every couple of pins, I like to wiggle it, make sure nothing's going to fly out of there. Next, we're going to do our dried dahlias. So these, you have to be very careful with the petals because they will start shedding. You don't want to shed off all your pretty stems. These I'm going to put kind of like that. Find another opening there. Bend your wire. it in the back. You don't ever want to push too hard though on your dried flowers because you will actually break the stems. They're pretty fragile for the most part, so it doesn't take much to break them. So just keep that in mind when you're placing stuff. Let's do some larkspur. Put maybe another dahlia in with the wire. And you don't have to use a grapevine wreath either. They make wired ones that are really pretty. Those are a little bit harder to work with, and you need usually glue, like hot glue gun, in order for your flowers to stay, because they will twist and turn on them. So that's why I'm using this, because it's super easy. Anybody can do it. And if you have any dead leaves that look brown, just pinch them off. And if you pin something and it's just not looking right, just take the pin out and redo it. Can't go wrong with this. Roses are really easy to dry, and you can get them basically in every color, so that'd be great to try out roses.
So when you pick the flowers to dry, do you want to pick them when they're in full bloom or before they bloom or when they're fading? When's the best time?
You want to get them when their petals are fully open, when they're very lush. You don't want to do it before they've budded because they usually don't tend to bud all the way or bloom all the way.
And I see it looks like you've stripped a lot of the leaves off of these too, like you do when you do your arrangements, your floral arrangements?
You can leave a lot of the leaves because they're going to add the fullness to the bouquet or to the wreath arrangement. Okay. But then it also makes it harder to pin stuff, so.
Do you do a class for these? I know you hold a lot of events out at your farm.
No.
I've seen you do succulents and some other things.
Yeah, we've kind of stopped doing a lot of our classes this year just because of the pandemic. But yeah, I've never done a wreath class, so maybe next year we'll.
Maybe next year things will be different.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great class to take. I mean, you just seem to have that special touch with everything. I'm sure if I put one together, it wouldn't be.
Oh no, you do good.
Quite like that. So it looks like you're concentrating on one part of the wreath.
Yep, you kind of.
You're not going to cover the whole thing, I'm assuming.
Yes, I'm only doing the bottom. I'm not doing the whole thing. You can do the whole thing. You would need a lot more flowers to do it.
I like it though with having the grapevine showing.
So don't worry about all of these wires hanging out because we're going to trim those at the end. So just leave them be for now.
Sophie, how did you get started with this business?
Kind of by accident. I needed flowers for myself, so I grew some for myself, and then more people started asking for them, and then every year I learn how to do something new. So this is actually my first year doing dried wreaths. Okay. So I don't have a ton of stuff, so we're not offering a lot this year because I wanted to see how it went. But next year hopefully we'll have a lot more, so you can buy dried flowers from me and do some crafts yourself.
Well, I've seen you grow so much over the last 2 years just in what you're doing.
So with these magnolias and oranges, what I like to do, you take a pin, stick it through the orange part. You're not going to be able to get it through the skin. Stick it through the leaf part, not the stem. You put them together, pull your wire down, do one twist, maybe two, hold it in place. So that right there is going to be your decorative greenery. So then you go in, if you have a gap that you want to cover. You can take any leaf or greenery that you've dried. And some of this stuff you don't have to pin. You could always go back through and glue. But since I don't have my glue, I'm going to pin it.
What would you use, a glue gun for that?
Yep, hot glue gun. And if you have dried moss too, instead of using leaves, you can do the dried moss. So you can see it's starting to look pretty full there. And then we're going to trim all the excess. Do a little shake. Make sure everything's good in there. And go around to the back. Trim all your wires a little bit shorter so you don't scratch your wall. And there we go, finished product.
Beautiful.
Super easy. So if you want to see what we have available, we might not have a lot of wreaths left since it's towards the end of the season. So we also have flower subscriptions you can get off of our website. It's www.jessiesflowerfarm.com. We'll have most of these flowers available this summer. If you want to come purchase a bouquet, we have a self-serve flower stand. So once you're done enjoying your bouquet, you can dry your flowers to make a wreath next winter.
Jessie, this is absolutely beautiful. It's so full and everything is just, it's like you had a plan when you put this together.
Not quite.
Okay, well it's gorgeous. You know, the flowers are so beautiful in the summer, but with the subtle colors when they're dried, I think they have just a different kind of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, no problem.
Most enjoyable and fun. And Jessie's very active on social media. You can see all kinds of things she's doing, like growing tulips through the winter on her Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you follow her and help support her business. She works very, very hard. Thanks again for coming.
Yeah, thank you.